Mm. We're live, apparently. Are we live? I hope so. Sup, Shredders. My name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SP Livestreams number 39 today, where for just $5, we can review a song for you on YouTube or Spotify or wherever else. All you've got to do is go up to go into the description of this live stream and this video while the live stream is live. Of course, as these are only available, these requests are only available when the live stream is live. And if you go there, join and check out the link in the description, you'll be able to go to Ko-fi, get your track requested, and we can have it in the queue and we can listen through it today. And if we switch over to here, we have opened the queue now. So the queue is open. If there is a track that you'd like me to review, we can do that. I want to make a couple of notes before we get into it for anyone that is watching and is unfamiliar or is familiar with the live streams. I have realized what happened. You okay? Are we good? Is there audio? Sup, Blue Dinner Box, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream. Sup, Le Pianiste, welcome to the live stream. Hopefully everything is going well on your end. We are here. It is live stream time. Yeah, number 39. Right. I've realized that the audio for the songs that I've been playing has been quiet in comparison. Has the YouTube progress bar turned purple? Crazy. I didn't realize that, Blue Dinner Box. That's fantastic. Well, is it fantastic? I don't know. Maybe it is. I'm not sure. Either way, I didn't realize it was purple, but that's kind of wild. Yeah, I've made a couple of changes since the last live stream. I've reduced the threshold on my noise gate so that my vocals should sound a bit more natural as a voiceover, and I've raised the volume of the audio a bit in the background. I'll check it after this, but this music should be a bit louder than it was last time. Anyways, if it is too loud, again, we'll find out in post. Yeah. Ah, it's magenta. What is magenta? Now, see, that's tricky. You see that up there? That is not one color. That is a lot of colors. Why is Wikipedia saying that this is magenta when there's 9 shades of magenta? Apparently this is the neutral magenta. Whatever that means. The Lamron. And this is Viva Magenta. And this is Pro Bright Magenta. I am curious. But yeah. So we're here. We're doing a live stream. And yeah, we've got a track through actually from Leo. So that's cool. Thank you, Leo, for your request. Hopefully, Leo, yourself and Blue Dinner Box are having a good day today and taking care of yourselves. I know it's been a while since we did one of these. What has Leo got for us today? So this is Leo. Right, you go here. Thanks for your request. And what has Leo got for us? If I go here. Ah, Hua Xin Yu. Yeah, okay, we're doing Hua Xin Yu today. That's fine. So we'll check out this track from Hua Xin Yu. Apparently this is titled Traveling. So we'll get that started, eh? I love the sequences. I think they're gorgeous. Oh, nice. Nice transfer there. A lot of these notes are coming through cleanly. Sup, Jacob? Yeah, no, I think that there are some parts where he sounds like he's struggling to hit the notes. It like seems like he's outside of his vocal range. You can tell that like he's in his kind of chest head voice, and he's got like some of those higher notes are just a bit tricky. Like he hits the falsetto okay, but it's just some of the like the in between notes are kind of tricky. Yeah, I don't know if we hit that note cleanly. Or are we going for the 7th? Are we going for the 7th there? We might have been going for the 7th of the chord there, and it's kind of resonating. It was kind of resonating with a flat second against like the root note of what the piano was playing. So is this track traveling about the journey that Hua Xinyuan was on early in their career and about not like settling for less and feeling unburdened and trying to sort of like let go of the chains that restrain him and potentially inviting other people to go along with him? Is that the kind of angle that we're going with here for it? I feel like I got some of it through. I'd probably want to have a second time through listening through it just to kind of feel it out. I think that there's been lots of songs that Hua Xinyu has put out where like we discuss their own journey with trying to sort of move forward as an artist, as a musician, trying to find their own place, working towards their goals and ambitions and stuff like that. So it makes sense to me that would sing something about like this, especially more early in their careers. And I think it's actually like even though there were parts where we didn't necessarily hit the notes as cleanly as we might have wanted to, it's a song where I think that the ideas for the melodies are sound. Like, I feel like again he would have developed as a vocalist as he went on, and like once he maybe developed some like it's more just the power behind the voice for some long times, like just getting those notes clean. That was kind of the issue here, and some parts there. But I think the note choices are good. I like the falsetto part. It was great to go in a different range with that interlude section. I think that the instruments alongside Hua Xinyu in the mix, which is it's a 4-minute song, and there is a lot to appreciate from the flurry of the sequences and synth sequences on the sides there. The way they kind of go up and down is almost sort of video gamey, almost like you're about to sort of like enter a new level or something. The drums there with like sort of more of a patient quarter note groove to it, almost like we're getting ready to ascend. The bass line, fairly formidable and reinforcing what was going on with the guitars there, which it's tricky. Like I mean, like the drums, clearly there were parts where there were tom fills and stuff like that, and they messed around with like different rhythms and speeds and stuff like that, just to sort of like vary it. But a lot of it was more traditionally that kind of more patient chord note groove there with occasional eighths. The guitars arpeggiating with those kind of misty, overdriven single string parts, and keys as well, sort of reinforcing those ideas from the guitar. They're sort of more expanding it. And with the strings, I think there was also some synth pads with strings alongside and the sides and the backing vocals. I think the backing vocals were great for a cool response on those hook lines, just to sort of like further elevate things and add a sense of warmth to the track there. I think like it was going that back and forth and not allowing things to be too consistent was smart. The song the theme overall, I didn't necessarily get an impression of what the track was about from the music, but I suppose it's kind of getting ready for that flight. That's the kind of the preparation for that, and it's kind of trying to illustrate a sense of glory, I suppose, in the journey that they're about to take, with the grandiosity of how the bass drums and keys and guitars come together. And I suppose that falsetto part, that soaring higher but trepidation with the fills, is kind of what we wanted from it. In effect, it was meant to represent the bit of danger before we had that final chorus and sort of fly into the sky. Studio recording, mixing, and mastering for the most part was pretty good. Performance in general was pretty tight. And ultimately, I think that most of the decisions were made I could make sense of. I think I can understand. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked a lot of what was going on there, and I think that again from hearing Hua Xinyu's later stuff, I understand they've developed, and I think it's really cool how they've grown. So thank you to Leo for putting this track forward. I really appreciate that. That was Hua Xinyu with Traveling, the Mars Concert Shanghai 2016. So we have songs from Leo, more from Dinohe as well. Thank you for those, as well as Shin Da. Thank you for the requests so far. There are 4 in the queue. I will get through those today. He has learned more skills in recent years. He said that in his world, composition and arrangement are more important than singing. It's an interesting situation. Like I know in New Zealand that if a musician was writing similar music to this, and this is, I don't mean to ruffle any feathers, it's just the way it is. In New Zealand, if an artist within this genre had not hit the notes cleanly enough, they probably wouldn't have had the support that this guy would have in this concert. Here in New Zealand, people are really kind of anal about the pitch, because they got used to like America's Got Talent and everyone being auto-tuned on those shows and stuff like that, and so it's less like desirable for someone to not be absolutely pitch perfect. So it's a different experience here. I think that Huaxin Yu is incredibly lucky to have the ability to be able to grow as a musician in real time and not have people give him a hard time for it if the notes aren't absolutely correct. Thanks for your... No, I don't want that. There we go. Anyways. What have we got next? It is Dinahe with their track. Khalil Fong. Hey, is this off of the new album? Here we go. Yeah, this is not that. This is another one. Excuse me, guys. Just gonna get that open for you. Where did it go? Here. Open that, please. Thank you. So this is from Dinahe. Thanks to Leo for the previous request. This is XZMHXDXH from Khalil Fong off of the latest album titled The Dreamer. Great use of vocoder here. Brass is phenomenal, man. So gentle. To be able to get away with like the whispering and the vocoder and with such minimalism with the vocals, it just shows the talent on display. Great adjustment of the drums here. The keys intermingling. Hey! And a reinvention of that whispered line at the start. Cool. Cool. So that was XCMHXDXH from Khalil Fong off of their new album titled The Dreamer. The title and lyrics all mean shoelace breaks before shoe breaks. Title is the abbreviation, and lyrics is just a phrase repeating. Awesome. This track it's creative. It's definitely an atmosphere and a vibe created by Khalil Fong to start things off. It's not trying to tell a serious story, I don't think. It's more trying to sort of illustrate their capacity to be able to create really interesting music, whilst also showcasing that they don't even necessarily need to tell you a story in order for it to be intriguing. Like, it's enough to have the whispered phrases as well as to have the vocoderish stuff, adding some interesting sort of mid-range resonance there with the wispies being on the side there. I think that the way that we flesh things out there is fantastic. And then you also have the iteration of the melody at the end as well, which is a nice sort of way to end this track at 3.5 minutes. I just think that it's cool, it's chic, and it doesn't overcomplicate things whilst also sounding reasonably fresh. The track includes a lot of different instruments, 3.5 minutes. It has that sort of main phrase and then vocoder and a kind of trade between. And then there's all sorts of instruments like brass and guitar and pianos and drums and bass. And they all take turns and do different things. There's not necessarily a main focus on one instrument the entire time. Like there's like a loop of a piano harmony in the background there, working with some extensions there. The bass line reinforces that occasionally, not all the time, but a lot of the time, working with those root notes, maybe going between parts of the triads. The drums are fairly minimalist as well. They're nothing too heavy or in your face. They're enough to sort of keep a sense of groove and pace. There were some 8ths and 16ths and stuff like that. There were some interesting sort of tom bits near the end of the track, which I kind of enjoyed because they sort of, how do I describe it? It's like the song was aware that if you had sort of too much minimalism with the percussion, it would effectively just be a little bit too basic. So we had space there to be able to add the couple of extra hits on the offbeat, and we did that. And it was just enough to keep things intriguing. And the harmonies with the brass were one of my highlights out of this track. I think that the way that they just worked off itself, fed off of the existing progressions and themes, and just kind of bounced around there. There were some parts where it was more staccato-ish, some other parts were legato, and we held the notes. And it was incredibly smooth the entire time. It was a complicated sort of extensions there within the harmony there, despite the repetition and looping of it. It's just trying to work within that was kind of tricky. But we managed to sort of like keep that pumping with, again, the keys continuing. There was like some electric keys as well that kind of sparkled and glistened, which were a nice bit of extra developing them into high range there, filling out the high part of the frequency spectrum there, which is really clever. The track got more intense as we went on, but never to a point where it was too exuberant. It was relatively low key for a lot of it, with a bit of fun with the way the vocals were expressed there. And it's just, there are probably other instruments in there as well. As well, like the picked guitar parts, not trying to sort of commit to a harmony or a set melody or whatever, but simply as more of a percussive effect. With dynamic range in that, they came in and out, things flowed. The music was able to breathe because of not being too overcompressed. And ultimately, it's just a very professional sounding sense of studio production without being too sort of like the performance was tight as well. But it seems relatively organic because of the way we didn't sort of try to create a static ABAB structure to the song there. We had an idea. We just, yeah, I like it a lot. And I think the studio recording, mixing, and mastering is it's studio grade. It's studio grade, commercial grade. There were no issues whatsoever with any resonances or any positioning or anything like that. I think it tells me that we're going to explore some different concepts that might not necessarily be representative of earlier Khalil Fong stuff, or maybe it's a bit more explorative or experimental. Either way, I had a great time with it. And thank you to Dinner Hay for putting this track forward from Khalil Fong titled XCMHXDXH. Jacob Good says it sounds a bit more of a demo. I can understand why you might feel like that. I personally feel like it's both. I think that this could have been more of kind of like a chill track just to kind of let you know what was going on with Khalil Fong, but at the same time, I can appreciate that this is sort of trying to maybe set the mood for the album as well. So it's like, I suppose it's trying to do both. And it's difficult. Like, I think with that first track, you really need to instantly communicate what you're getting yourself into and just work from there. Now, what I've just done in that session, I have a tendency to look over it at chat when I review stuff. And like, people can talk, don't get me wrong. It's just I've realized that if I just focus on the song, review it, and then check chat and talk about stuff, it's a lot more efficient. Because I then I start thinking about what's going on in the chat and stuff like that. And then again, it's good to do that. I enjoy talking to you guys, but I also distract myself because I start thinking about what's going on in the chat and stuff like that. So I think what I'm going to do for the rest of the live stream is when I'm listening to the track, I'm purely focused on that, and then I'll make sure that I'm checking out on you guys and how you're doing. Once I do the review and conclusion section and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just me making sure that if you guys send a track through, that I do it properly. Because I want to make sure that if you send a track through, you know I've really heard it. You know? So chill. But thank you to Dinnerhay for requesting that song. It was cool. I like it. I enjoy when Khalil Fong does more fun stuff like that. I really do. So we've got another track next from Leo. I assume that we're probably going to be getting a few more Hua Xin Yu tracks today. I know that in one of the previous live streams, I was asked to make it like Hua Xin Yu, to mention Hua Xin Yu in the title. I think that it's better to not do that for more than just that one. I know there are a lot of Hua Xin Yu tracks in this, but I want people to understand that if they come into a live request, like if they come into this live stream, it's not specifically for Hua Xin Yu tracks. People are welcome to put those through, but I want to make sure people know if they come in here that they can listen to any track as well. And it also means that if they come in, they don't just assume it is just Hua Xin Yu. There are a lot of other equally cool musicians out there as well. But Leo, we're going to check out this track for you now. It is from Hua Xin Yu. It is the Warmhouse Mars concert. It started at 054. Cool. Sweet. Oh, good. Let's do it. Boom. It is already turned on. We are good. The sub is already on. Interesting how the vocals go to the side like that. A lot of this is post-production, isn't it? Great rotor reverb on those guitars, man. Nice vibrato at the end. Great use of dynamic range. So soothing with the organs. I mean, that's a really stellar finish to that. That was washing you with warm house. Thanks to Leo for that request. The theme of the song is against war. See that to me, that's incredibly visceral. You know, you get the person who just wants to be back at the house with their mom and dad, and they have these memories of how things used to be, and that can never go back to the way it was. You talk about the dogs outside, but you know maybe they were like the soldiers. But you wonder how those soldiers became who they are. It's incredibly brutal stuff, and I think it's done in a way where we try to make it catchy and sort of like sort of anthemic, whilst also trying to sort of mirror the darkness that they feel about the situation lyrically. The vocals from Hua Xin Yu are strong here. I enjoy the hidden just voice and the falsetto. The dynamic range, the control over the actual volume of the voice is very, very good here. We sing in a way which is very eloquent and sensitive and shows that vulnerability that you kind of need in a situation like this in order for the track to be believable or the performance to be believable. I think that, that they choose really compelling melodies and harmonies that resonate across the mix in a way which is just really incredibly musically sound, and it's impactful. The track itself at 5 minutes is well fleshed out. There are quiet and loud parts there. There's great use of dynamic range, especially when things come up with the guitars, bass, and drums. You have the organs almost like we're in a moment of prayer, a sense of spirituality, looking at where their parents could be, whether they've passed off the afterlife or wanting to come back to them, mourning the sense of loss from those people not being in their life anymore. I think that there's a relative simplicity to the way that the drums are played there. This kind of like rockish kind of beat. There were crashes, cymbals, kicks, and snares there. The bass, you know, reinforcing the root notes, power chords, almost sort of just being a sense of force, that incredible burst of passion that comes out of that quietness there, those emotions erupting. I think that the quietness of the clean guitars in those quieter elements there, the way it resonates in the mix there is just very sort of thoughtful, and you kind of ponder slowly the stuff they're discussing with the vocals coming down for that. There's a great awareness of where we need to be in regards to the things around us. And when the organs come in, I mentioned those, but just ultimately it's a track where it's like a tale of two halves. And I think that while it doesn't try to overcomplicate the actual main theme or anything like that, a part of the power behind this is just the emptiness of the quiet part as well. How things fill out in the stereo field, like the music is surrounding you, like those emotions are sort of going throughout your body, and those louder parts. It's incredibly effective. The studio recording, mixing, and mastering is tight here. I think that it's commercial grade. It's solid for a live performance, and I think they did a really great job of handling things overall in this piece. So you're welcome, Le Pianiste. You're welcome. But that was that song from Hua Xin Yu titled "Warm House." The next one is from, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Xin Yuda. Hello, Xin Yuda. Welcome to the live stream. Hopefully you're well. Hopefully you are having a good day today and you've been taking care of yourself. I know that it is a Friday for a lot of people still, so hopefully you are all getting ready to enjoy your weekend if you are not already. I know myself personally, my weekend starts after the live stream, but I enjoy doing the live streams. They're not really a job. It's just, yeah, it's good. I like it. This track from Shinji Da is titled Idea Masa Rock and Roll from 2022. So let's go. Let's do it. What do we got? Oh, these are the people from last time, right? I love the attitude, dude. The sassiness behind it. I adore it. Oh, this is from Led Zeppelin. Crazy, dude. I had no idea. Great drum fill there. Well handled. It's so clean with the performance style. The freedom to be able to just play like that and make it fit within a track is really impressive. It's fantastic to have a drum solo here. I love that. Really classy, man. I mean, like, everyone just looked like they were having such a great time with this. Rock and Roll, the cover by Led Zeppelin. I want to find where the thing was where they talked about, like, who was playing what. Where was the... Here we go, cool. So the lead vocalist is ID, and the guitar was Massa, drums, keys, and bass. Awesome. Yeah, so what I appreciate about this was the charisma of the vocalist. They were completely selling it. The melodies that we had, they were phenomenal. We paid, I think, homage to the attitude of the original. We didn't try to be Jimmy Page. We were ourselves on stage, but we also managed to capture a lot of the heart melodies that made the track signature and nailed the anthemic parts of it. Really fantastic in choice voice there, great vocal technique, and just yeah, on the stage, great sort of chemistry with other members of the band as well, like interacting with the guitarist, the drummer, etc. You know, like handing off the drum solo part to them, just awesome, really fantastic stuff. The track at 4 minutes, 4 minutes 38, just the attention to detail. Why do I say attention to detail? Because it's true. There is an incredible amount. Like the lead guitar work was stunning. It really was. It's really difficult to get lead guitar stuff to matter because a lot of people can play guitar incredibly well and really efficiently and really just in a way where there's a lot of notes and it's really impressive, but it doesn't always sound tuneful. And I think the more I listen to Massa play this, the more I kind of fell in love with the way they were approaching it. There was a sense of musicality about it they don't always get with Shred. And especially in the later stages where there's several solo sections, you really did get the impression that they understood, even though they could play some really crazy, ridiculous stuff. There were like variations in the rhythmic phrasing of it. There are moments where, you know, you had like faster elements there. Sometimes we'd do some tremolo bar tricks. Sometimes it worked with some pinches, some bends, etc. And there was a lot of tapping at the start there, and the band was getting hyped up for it as well. Bass player sort of clutch and pocketing. The drummer pocketing as well for a lot of it, although a lot of the pocketing was at, you know, like the drummer for Led Zeppelin's level, which was basically grade 8 equivalent throughout. The drum solo at the end being absolutely phenomenal, but just the effort required to kind of keep everything so tight there in the percussion session, just it was a really effective performance overall. The people on stage clearly had a chemistry and they were comfortable around each other, and it sounded like a live performance. It didn't sound over polished. But I just appreciate the attitude there, the awareness of I like the fact that they tried to keep it rock and roll and they made it rock and roll and it was raucous and punchy, and I really don't know what they could have done to improve it. Like there were some parts where things were slightly out, but the vast majority of the time it was tight. And the theme overall, with the bluesy kind of pentatonic elements there, the shred scale soloing, etc. Just the rush of it, the flurry, the speed and pace of it as well, the 8th and 16th note patterns in certain break parts, moving into like a chord note groove for like the verse parts where things are a bit more kind of ambitious. It's a piece where, yeah, no, it does pay homage to the original, and I think that they matched it. And well, for the most part, anyways, like it's hard to beat the original, but it was definitely a solid effort. I think that they stopped at the right time, having again the drum solo at the end there with the mixture of different snare tom fills, etc., along with the crashes was cool. And the recording was pretty tight as well. I appreciate the clarity of everything in the mix there. The vocals could have potentially had a bit of more presence in some parts, but aside from that, again, it was a live performance. You could hear they're all on stage. They definitely didn't over polish it. Things were surrounding you in a stereo field, nice and loud, without pumping. Just, yeah, it's a solid impression. I enjoyed my time with it. So thank you to Shin Da for putting this track through. It was cool, man. It was cool. The Pianist says, best live band, always the best. Glad you feel that way. Led Zeppelin are a phenomenal band, but Master are pretty dope as well. I think after that, we have Leo again, which is cool. What has Leo got for us today? Kofi. It says we've got, I think we've got more, if I'm not mistaken, more Hua Shenyu. This is the Madhouse Hua Shenyu Mars Concert 2023. So it'd be good to check that out next. Yeah. Thanks, Shinyada, for watching it, for the previous request, and hopefully the work is going well for you today. Hopefully work is going well for you today. But yeah. This is 6 minute 50. I'll probably go to the 5 minute mark. But that's okay. Larissa's Liu Yi Chu.
当我再度毁灭后，一切变更纯净，那破碎的感受 I know。当我再度逃离后，逃离灵魂监狱，那解脱的感受 I know。默默享受，就算只有那片刻自由。
Oh, that build there. I love the piano intro though. It's so fresh. Dub?
在舒服的房间，是个凌晨2点半，鼓起堂吉诃德的勇敢，对着深间空气大声宣战。当压抑被揭穿，会加入这狂欢，疯狂进去不需要理睬，所有虚伪全都落到末日清算，像古板艺术中最巴洛克的节奏。I wanna know， 哦，被狂热感染过，我的极端如何拯救 ？I wanna know， 在无法惨败累赘的很考究的良知苍蝇，有特别聒噪的声音，正面的存在的证明。白色时空被经过的循环的语句，这个瞬间场景每每熟悉，一群眼睛一切都只是话题，在混沌想法中最不可理喻念头。I wanna know， 在疯狂世界中怎么融入那些主流 ？I wanna know。
That back and forth, the crowd is really effective as well.
一切变更纯净，那破碎的感受 I know。 当我再度逃离后，逃离灵魂监狱，那解脱的感受 I know。 I will try， 安然的沉默，在黑暗的温柔，不惊心扮演着伤的小丑，站在角落中，享受片刻的自由。
I wasn't expecting it to go from piano ballad into this.
当雪花变默剧，这画面有一些诡异，像丛林里危险的经历，凸显着不安的肢体。我沿时间轨迹，试图为自己解密，那些忽略了、错过了的证据，都指向了无知的言辞陷阱。在主观世界中，会有多少可能野兽 ？I wanna know。 被狩猎后，到底怎样才能逃走 ？I wanna know。 如果可以服下你疯狂的药剂，那些热念攻击全都不理，着迷于纯粹的风言和风语，这相对的问题就是爱因斯坦的逻辑，在繁忙的繁星的夜里，矛盾的就快要窒息。所有未知以后都让我保持清醒着感受。I don't want to know, I don't want to know, I don't want to know, no, no。 当我再度毁灭后，一切变
Sad synth strings.
那破碎的感受 I know。 当我再度逃离后，逃离灵魂监狱，那解脱的感受 I know。 I will try， 安然的沉默，在黑暗的温柔，不惊心扮演着伤的小丑。
It's beautiful how it builds like that though. I like that. Great shift in the halfway point.
对我来说，如此陌生。
And that is the 5-minute mark. I'm glad I caught that. I was getting sucked into it. I think it's a really interesting outro. This was Madhouse by Hua Xinyu Mars Concert 2023, Wuhan 527. Jacob Good says, sorry, the style clash is really not to my taste. Appreciate the experiment though. I think that's completely fair. It can be tricky to try and put like almost a balladesque kind of piano format with the vocals into a song like this. I think from like a fake out perspective, as I haven't really heard this kind of reggae dub stuff from Hua Xinyu before, I think it's cool that we're having a go at it. The kind of funkiness there, the kind of chilled nature of it is almost, I think, trying to suppress the kind of wild stuff that they're having to do as a melancholic clown. I think that the inane kind of like kind of the silliness of the situation that they're in, where they're having to sort of be this person, they're trying to escape from it. There are these questions they have. They talk about flies trying to sort of like debate their own existences or something along lines like that. It's almost like being like like outside your own body experience, looking at the world, trying to look at it from a distance, potentially a bit of introspection, but also looking at the world around them, trying to find a place in it. I want more time to think about this, the madhouse of the world they're in, but Washington's vocals are solid here, no complaints. I mean, it's similar stuff I've said about their vocals, like with the more recent performances. We hit the notes cleanly. I liked the occasional head voice and falsetto parts. We didn't really have falsetto in this one. It was more sort of like conversational. Um, the rapping, I think it was cool to do the rapping is like a different thing that we haven't necessarily had as much as Hua Yu there. I think going from a more rhythmical approach played well alongside the guitar, bass, and drum parts in some of the verse sections, with a more anthemic, clean vocal part in the choruses as well as in some of the bridge elements. I think that that kind of like synth leadish kind of thing that almost sounded like the world's smallest violin was a nice touch there. It's just kind of like a zany tone to it. I think the playoff is that almost we expect there to be a piano ballad, but then we're just sitting on top to the rest of the crowd, not trying to sort of take it too seriously. I think that there is a great sort of range of different ideas put forward on the drum kit there. We're very comfortable with the snare patterns, kicks, and offbeat sort of hi-hat patterns as well, which are more so symbolic for the genre there. And we know how to keep things sounding relatively fresh and relaxed with the actual intensity of the drum performance there. The drum line sort of like bass line bouncing around the scale shapes, not just sticking to the chord notes, but also dum 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 boom, missing around like different part. Like rhythmically, it's kind of active, more active with the drums than usual. Guitar parts, offbeat sort of strums of like those bar chords, and working with a more sort of traditional chord progression that's not too edgy or anything like that, but it still works. It's like a catchy chord progression. I think the piano at the start though was pretty. I appreciate what was going on there, and I think it's tricky because I feel like if you try to just auto match that piano part to the rest of the element in the mid range and the midpoint, it would have just been a little bit too different, which I think was part of what Jacob was saying, is that those styles are just a bit too different, and trying to get those textures together might have been a little bit problematic. But I think ultimately it's quite a tight performance, which isn't too overcomplicated instrumentally. Sup, Judith? Welcome to the live stream. Hopefully you're well. Thematically, I think that what we did well with this song is to showcase a theme that is, again, it's kind of, this felt more closely related to the lyrics this time, where we are that melancholic town, just trying to sort of like commenting on the kind of the disparity of the situation, just the madhouse that it is, and it almost the theme there with the gentleness, relative gentleness, with a bit of the edge of the rapping and stuff like that, sort of like that bit of juxtaposition there is kind of neat. There's sense of humor there. I appreciate the creativity on display. I think that the yeah, maybe. It's totally up to you. It's just that there's just a 5-minute time limit, the pianist on these, just so that, because otherwise, like I already take a bit to get through these. Like I ramble a bit with these tracks, and if we had like longer songs, I'd just ramble more. But yeah, I think the studio recording, mixing, and mastering was commercial grade. Again, at this point, I think Hua Xinyu's production team have got everything's absolutely sorted. No complaints whatsoever. It's a shame that we couldn't see the band on stage, but I'm also aware after seeing video cams of like the band that Hua Xinyu works with, I know that there are musicians behind the scenes playing stuff alongside him, so it's totally fine. But thank you to Leo for putting this track forward from Hua Xinyu, titled Madhouse. It's great to hear the crowd sing along. They seem like they're having a great time with it, and that makes me feel very happy. Let us continue, though. We have a song from Jacob Good. Thank you, Jacob. Hopefully you are well. Hopefully you are having a good day today, Jacob. I think that, yeah, I think we're going to listen to some Crowd Lou now. Let's do it. By the way, I haven't updated. I'll update Ko-fi now. How many requests have we got? Hey, cool. We've got a few more to do after this. There's a few that have come through. Sup, Sunday Corn. Welcome to the live stream as well. Hopefully you're well. As well as James Edmieds, if I'm not mistaken. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the queue. I'm actually going to be right back. I'll be right back. Back in a moment. Okay. All right, I'm back. I'm back. I had to take my pills. I forgot. I forgot to take my pills. Sup, James? How you doing? Welcome to the live stream. Let's do this. So the next track that we have is, again, it's Crowd Lou. Get that sorted for you here. Welcome to everyone. Welcome to the live stream, by the way. Hopefully you're having a great weekend so far. Thank you, Judith.
曾经在我眼前，却又消失不见。
By the way, what's this track called, Jacob? I'll just get this translated real quick for us. Thank you for the request. I love you. There we go, Jacob. Cheers, man.
这是今天的第6遍，电影里的配乐，好像你的双眼，我爱你，快回到我身边。 什么好不好？不知道，不知道，不知道，不知道什么好预兆？好不好？好不好？好不好？哒哒哒哒哒哒，不知道，不知道，不知道，不知道什么好预兆？太阳公公出来了，他对我呀笑呀笑，我爱你，你。
Bro, use the harmonics there, man. I dig it.
曾经在我眼前，却又消失不见。这是今天的第六遍。电影里的配乐，好像你的双眼。我爱你，快回到我身边。
Such a groovy guitar line underneath.
好不好？好不好？好不好？哒哒哒哒哒哒哒，不知道，不知道，不知道，不知道什么好预兆。太阳公公出来了，他对我对我笑呀笑。我爱你，你知不知道？曾经在我眼前，却又消失不见。这是今天的第六遍。电影里的
Fantastic head voice there.
好像你的双眼，我爱你，快回到我身边。太阳公公出来了。
Great use of dynamic range.
他对我呀笑呀笑，我爱你，你知不知道？曾经在我眼前，却又消失不见。我不要比赛叫败阵，电影里的配乐，好像你的双眼，我爱你。
Parallel there?
我爱你，快回到我爱你，快回到我身边。
That was a cool transition there. He hits those notes really cleanly, dude. Like, that kind of vocal style is tricky. Because what you end up with very occasionally is a situation where sorry guys, I know it's probably, here we go, just 'cause I booped it before. You end up with a situation where if you don't get that balance right between trying to use like the fullness of your voice with those legatos, like it's you need to have a sense of equilibrium to make those legato runs work, and he did there. Like, I'm not sure what the track is about aside from the fact that it translates to "I love you." It sounds like a song where the vocalist is full of passion. Jacob says, I just adore his voice and that is creative also with those little vocal runs. Yeah, I think it is too. There are a lot of interesting melodies and tails on top of the main lines there and variations, and a little sort of like twist at the end there where he kind of hung over that bit was really neat as well. He's got a lot of confidence. I think it's backed up by the fact that he hits the notes cleanly. He's comfortable in his head and chest voice. There are some really neat falsetto parts as well. And ultimately, it's just a really pleasing texture and timbre to the voice, which is not something that you can always get. It's very difficult. Like, you can't really make that happen. You can improve the quality of your voice and how it sounds, not like the notes and the making it, like this, you know what I mean? It's like, he's just got a great sounding voice. It's very earnest as well. But yeah, it's not just the fact that he can sing; it's also that he kind of like treats his voice like a lead instrument as well. He kind of does do do do. He kind of hums along or says notes or sings notes in a way that matches what's going on with a lot of the guitars, bass, and drums in this. Because I think predominantly this track is filled again with guitars, bass, and drums. The guitars. If we go back to the start of the track. Like there's some wonderful like tones to the guitars where there's like a crisp tone, like the tone, there's a crisp tone. There's a crispness to it. The way it's strummed, it's staccatoed, it's perky, it's got a great sort of sense of rhythmic flow that helps it to suit what's going on with the drums really neatly. And I like the fact that the vocals are most of the lead element. There are some octave chords on the guitar that attempt to harmonize with it, and we do establish a sense of progression with like the bass lines and everything like that, and the chord progressions, not just with the bass as well. But his voice takes precedent as the focal point in the entirety of the track. The bass line underneath rolling with the root notes of the chord progressions, and typically very, very, very supportive of those. I like the dynamic range of the guitar parts actually in general. I like the fact the guitars aren't the same loudness the entire time. I like the fact that it's very sort of like atmospheric and intense because of that. You know, you've got the parts start with like the reverb tails on the vocals, which makes it almost seem kind of like ghostly, and things just sort of build up from there. But then even when the drums come in with the 8th and 16th note patterns, like the almost kind of brushish elements there is still a sense of like trepidation as if we don't want to get too loud with the percussion. It does come in later on. And there are backing vocals that kind of pepper and do a call and response things with the mains. And you get a full sounding track eventually, but it's just very cautious about showing you all of the tricks in its basket before it gets to that point. And I like the fact that despite there's not a huge amount of instrumental development, like not a lot of different layers added, you get these elements that earlier on, and it's just sort of not glacial, but slow movements towards improving and adding, and you come down dynamically and then you move back up, and it's just very invigorating the more life we give into it in a way that isn't sort of superfluous nor overshoots before it gets to the finish line. I think that thematically it's a fresh sounding track that is upbeat and well tempered, and I think that it suits the way that we sung. It's got a sense of it's kind of pretty sounding there. We're not trying to be too serious or kind of that sort of like intense with it. And the brightness, the flow, the focus of the mid range of those guitars, especially with the lack of intensity in the lower area of the drums, matches that well. And studio recording, mixing, and mastering is just the icing on the cake there. It's not overproduced. Again, there's bits of reverb and stuff like that, and the vocals and the EQing has been handled correctly. And I think there's a little bit of compression without being too much. But yeah, no. Just nice and low, that pumping dynamic range on the sides. Very impressive. Judith says the story behind the lyrics is that Crowd and his friends rushed it overnight before the singing contest. It flashes before my eyes and disappeared to nowhere refers to their ideas to lyrics. Granny's son came out and he smiled at us refers to them writing till the sun's out. Thank you, Judith. I appreciate that bit of extra context to it. That's really fascinating. And Jacob says, oh, I never knew the lyrics was referring to his brush with fame. Very interesting. Is this guy not famous? When you say the brush with fame, is that like way more than like 10 million plays worth? Is that just him when he was younger getting started in it? Or is that part of what got him famous? I mean, either way, I think it's an interesting story. And I do enjoy listening to Crowdloo. Thank you to Jacob for putting this track forward. It's a great time. We can put that one in the done basket. We have completed that track. What is next for us? Very cool song. Exactly. So what are we up to now? So done. Yes, we got Leo next. Cool. Sorry, just. Oh, he wasn't mainstream. Okay, thank you, Jacob. I appreciate that context there. Is the music better leveled in this? Because I'm gonna turn I'm gonna check after this, but just I'm hoping the music is a bit louder than it was last time. I want you guys to actually be able to hear the music and not just me kind of boom over top of it, right? Because that's not a fun time. But yeah, that was great. That was awesome. This next track is from Leo. What have you got for us, Leo? Lucky as you, Leo, Huaxin you can skip to so 57. I will skip to there. Thank you for that. Song. Let's go. 57. Okay, good. Ooh, those harmonies are pretty. This is a lot heavier than some of his other stuff. Great to have the bass just sit there with the rim shots though, that's cool. I think he does the rock stuff really well. Great vocal fries. Yeah, that was really well handled. I think that this is Hua Xinyu's element. I think his rockish stuff is fantastic. This here, that vocal fry that we had later on in the piece, was just so believable, so authentic to the genre. It so easily communicated the emotions that they were feeling. And I think there were parts where we were a lot more gentle at the start, and like, you get the feeling that they're going through this helplessness. They're understanding, how to describe it? It's like they're trying to sort of communicate simultaneously the vulnerability, was also the frustration. And I think that though they covered that range here, partly because of the changes in intensity between the different elements. The clicking of the ticking of the talk almost to sort of suggest that like it was just a time bomb and we're eventually gonna run out of time to be able to like get by this. Like we're running out of time to basically maybe it's also about people who are lucky and you're like as lucky as you, almost like you wish you could be as lucky as them or something like that. I mean, either way, it's cool. It's a great song. I thought that the vocals from Haishin were incredibly effective and worked well for the genre and melodies and harmonies we have from like the backing vocalists and the quieter sections where the choir was gorgeous. And it was just great to make the most of that reduced sort of intensity and a dynamic range to sort of have that there surrounding you in the stereo field. It was awesome. It was really well handled. The track itself, typically it featured more sort of guitar, bass, and drum elements there. The drums relatively low key. Kick, snare, cymbal patterns there, kind of keeping a sense of pace there. Not trying to sort of over embellish, trying to keep the focus on Hua Xinyue throughout. The bass lines typically rolling with the root notes of the chord progressions. There's probably a lot of this. There are some tracks where they don't, but this one was more sort of conservative in that regard. I think the focus is more on like the ticking of the clock and then the vocal elements. Then the guitar, bass, and drums were sort of more supportive. There was some interesting octave ideas on the guitars there and some arpeggios in the mid to upper range there, with the power chord elements there being reinforced in the mid to lows. And again, there were parts where things were quiet. There weren't any guitars there, and part of the dynamic range was because of a lack of instruments and like bring things up. And other parts was great. The theme overall is trying to remain relatively measured in its emotional sort of like its emotional weight. It's trying to be kind of catchy without being too edgy, like intense without being too edgy. I think that if you had like gone too far on the kind of heavy rock metalish route, it might have been a little bit too out of the wheelhouse in the sense that it might have been a little bit too different from what Fashion you typically did. But I still think we managed to find a way to make the vocals work with the music whilst having a sense of equilibrium with what's stylistically expected and what's appropriate versus like the actual. You know what I mean? We found balance there between the lyrics and music, I think. We found equilibrium. The studio recording, mixing, mastering was really well handled there. Again, I like the panning of instruments in the mix and vocals in the mix there. I like the fact that we had the Foley with the clock. And yeah, you kind of got an impression of what the track was about without even necessarily being able to understand the verse or vocal lyrics. But I nonetheless appreciate the translation. Thank you to Leo for putting this track forward from an ex named Hua Xinyue, titled Lucky as You. It's good. It's a good track. It's one of my favorite ones from Hua Xinyue for sure. Next track we have is from Sunday Corn. I'm gonna have a look here. What time is it? It's 5:47. Now, 5:47. We have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, sup, shredders? I'm going to be closing the queue now, but I will do the remaining 5 requests for, who do we have? Sunday Corn, James, Judith, and Dinner. Hey, before I go, so I'm going to be closing the queue now, just because I think it'd be good to just finish on a high note. I feel like there have been some really good tracks today, and I also need to get some food because it's getting close to dinner time here in New Zealand, and I'd like to have some food. But I appreciate the track so far. I'm just going to make sure that I haven't missed anything. There are 5. I will be pinning that message. And Jamesy also, hang on, things are in the way. I'll talk about James's comment in a moment. We'll go Sunday Corn next anyways. Go. And what has Sunday Corn got for us? James E says, what a great vocalist with so much dynamics and styles incorporated in his performance. The vocal distortion on the pre-chorus was great. Absolutely. I think it's great when you have really good control of your vocal fry there. It makes it more believable. And when you can do it in a way where it's sustainable, it is really, really special. So Sunday Corn has got for us today a track on Spotify from, Sorry, Ino Chung by, it's featuring Ino Ching by Sorry Youth. And this track is titled, what is this titled? The Torso is Fully Released. Let's go. Ooh. I love the development with the chord note kicks and the hi-hats, man. Her vocals are dreamy, dude. They're fantastic. It's such a clean mix as well. And a guitar solo. There's such gorgeous fuzzy guitar harmonies though, man. We had the lady and the man come together to harmonize, now with the guitars. Yeah, I think this is probably one of my favorite tracks from today. There's just a real sweetness to the way that things came together that I really appreciate. Thank you to Sunday Corn for putting this track forward from an act named Sorry Youth featuring Ino Ching, titled If I Am Not a Misunderstanding. The torso is fully released. I feel like that is not the literal translation, that there may be a bit of nuance in there somewhere. That's just Deep L being Deep L, I suppose. But either way, let's talk about it. So I'm not sure what the track is about because I don't necessarily trust the translation. What I do appreciate is the vocal styles. I think both the male and the female vocalists absolutely smashed in this. They did not overstay their welcomes. They didn't over. They collaborated really effectively. When they were separate, they had their perspectives and voicings on certain things, and they suited the elements that they were put on top of. But then they also came together near the end, and they harmonized wonderfully. Their vocal textures were incredibly compatible, and it was just really fantastic to listen to. It was effervescent. And yeah, it was just a smashing piece where, again, while the vocals were like the focal point for a lot of it, I also feel as if, to be fair, they were almost they were an equal of importance to the rest of the track, because at 4 minutes 13, we had a lot of really cool stuff going on with a flurry of different guitar, bass, drum, and synth ideas. Hang on. Do I need to... Hang on. Good. All right, so this song was really pretty. It was sparkled, and it had a lot of really gorgeous synth pads and sequencer elements there that were different sounds that performed different functions. Some kind of raced up and down there, and they had the reverb chainsaw, like fluffy clouds passing you by. Other parts, I think, were more sort of like softer, more subtle there. There are more sort of atmospheric, misty elements there to kind of make it a little bit sort of more surrealist. The guitars that we had here, you had like, they were more subtle in the mix. You had these arpeggiated, almost tremulous reverb delay-ish elements that were just gorgeous, and they were really sort of like, almost had like a fantasy element to them. They were magical, dreamy like, and they were, again, while they were subtle in the mix, they also decorated the mid-range and the sides of the stereo field really neatly, with the bass line in the low end. But the bass line typically reinforcing the root notes. I'm double checking stuff because I just want to make sure I get it right. The bassist was more sort of like low key and refined in this, pocketing, sticking to the root notes. The drummer played a lot of different quarter and eighth note grooves. There was some interesting mix up of different snare kick patterns there. We did explore different parts of the kit, but we were typically just trying to sort of keep things moving forward at a pace that we were happy with and where it made sense with the rest of the arrangement. We were a bit more low-key with some sort of kick elements there. We weren't the same layers the entire time. We knew to sort of step back and allow other elements like the synths or the verses, the guitars come forward there for a sense of sort of faux dynamic range. But we knew, because it was such a tightly mixed and mastered track. There wasn't a huge amount of dynamic range within this piece, but it was just, I think it was meant to sort of sound quite tightly glued there. The color of all the elements within the free spectrum stereo field, with the interesting sort of extensions within the harmonies and mid to higher level resonances, especially with the sparkly sounds. The drums there keeping a sense of groove and pace throughout there. The vocals finding a niche within the mix as well because of the way they notched on top of each other in regards to their frequency spectrums. I've closed the queue because I have to eat food soon. I have to eat food soon? I have to eat food? It's dinner time for me, nearly. I've been working since it's about 6 o'clock now, and I have been working off and on for the last 8 or so hours. So I'm gonna have to get some food. Not live streaming for the last 6 to 8, but like I've just been doing other stuff around work for like our clothes have to eat soon. Oh. Oh, do you mean via YouTube? Yeah. Hang on. Hang on a minute. Let me just do something real quick. Let me just do something real quick. There you go. So the reason that I canceled, just really quickly, the reason that I canceled like the super stuff back in the day. I reviewed the super I canceled the super. Oh, okay. Re-enabled the super stickers because I had some people placing requests through super chats rather than via Ko-fi. So if people want to donate via YouTube chat, they can send a sticker. A super, what was a super sticker? Super, yeah, so I had to cancel the super chats because people were requesting those. They were using those to request tracks rather than through Ko-fi. But I've just re-enabled super stickers in case people want to send those through. Because I don't think you can send messages via that. I think it's just like literally the sticker if they want to put stuff through. But yeah, sorry. I think I spoke about the vast majority of Sorry Youth and Inno Ching. Anyways, I think the theme overall is gorgeous and it is dreamlike. And while I don't understand what the track is about, I nonetheless appreciate the fact that they tried to make such a pretty song, also catchy. And there was also a little bit of darkness in some of the minor tales of it, but they didn't sort of overemphasize that. I think the studio recording, mixing, and mastering is really gorgeous, and I think that they leveled things really neatly. While there wasn't a lot of dynamic range, I think that was to keep the mistiness sort of like reverberating around the situation. I think that we did some really special things with the way the vocals are leveled with the guitars and placement of the different elements within the stereo field, and I think overall the production was commercial grade. But yeah, no, it was awesome. Really fantastic track. Thank you to Sunday Corn for putting the song forward from an ex named Sorry Youth and Inno Ching. And no worries. Cheers. There we go. No worries. Yeah, so we're good. Thank you to Sunday Corn for that. Great. We have got 4 more tracks though. What have we got next? Oh, hang on. Let me put that back up. Okay. What is the next one here? Who do we have after Corn Sunday? We have 4 more, I think. Aha, it is from Shinyuda. There we go. Thanks for your request. Just while I'm aware, the super sticker thing might not work immediately because I've just re-enabled it, but it would be for the next live stream. But it's also, just to be clear, I'm not expecting people to put them through. It's enough just, you know, I appreciate people just being here hanging out. It's good. It's good. But anyway, thank you to Shinyuda for your request. This is from, who is it from? It's from Amazing Show. Awesome. Let's do Amazing Show. That'll be good. Let's do some Amazing Show. Next track. Ah, Bastards of Love. Oh, hey.
在轻声的最后，活该今生的诅咒。我爱隐藏着泪流，想要梦见你，重见你容颜已走远，在不真实的空间里好好再爱一遍。或许这就是所谓心痛，或许我不曾真的心动，或许这次我认真了，这次是真的爱了。就当作我是爱情的大坏蛋，不需要你原谅我，背后为你流的泪。
It's so well spirited.
就因为我是爱情的大坏蛋，爱情的小偷，请忘记我，让我寂寞。今晚没梦见你，是因为睡不着，瞬间是烂电影，而我不是主角，看着剪影出鞘，你总然听不到，我只能抽着烟，都只是数着泪，有1分钟。我会把你的故事折成纸鹤，让它飞到银河。
Oh. Wait, what's happening here? This isn't good. What happened? I've just realized. Oh. Oh.
就当作我是爱情的大坏蛋，不需要你原谅我，背后为你流的泪，就当我自作自受。就因为我是爱情的大坏蛋，爱情的小偷，请忘记我，让我寂寞。
This is a wild video, dude.
我在情歌的尾奏，我在轻声的最后，活该轻声的追究。我爱已沉着泪流，想要梦见你，重见你容颜已走远，在不真实的空间里好好再爱一遍。今晚我摧毁了最美的未曾爱过，尽管我卑微的泪水彻夜碎成白沫，就当我没爱过，就当我没爱过，我不配你爱我，我不配你爱我。
Crazy. Aww. So I'm trying to understand the implicit situation here. Was the concern that those guys were going to take her off away and they were going to do some really terrible stuff to her? Or was it that he had to kind of fight for that situation that they were in? I mean, I think it was an incredible song. I liked it. It was a bit more conservative than some of the other stuff I've heard from The Amazing Show before. But okay, so if I was to take what I think the video is about, I think it's about someone who is at a party and they find this girl they're attracted to, and initially maybe she leads them on or something like that. Or, the lyrics are about a naive teenager who, after a frustrating love affair, learns to be a playboy and forgets the feelings he has been hurt by. Thank you, Shinyada. I appreciate you filling me in on that. Thank you for that message in the actual, the Ko-fi message. So that makes sense in regards to the video. So we know what the song is about. Does the vocalist sound like that's what they're singing about? Yeah, I think they do. They're kind of calling out and like singing about the situation. They sound like they're in a bit of pain initially. Not in the way that degrades the listening experience, but that it's just a very intense experience emotively for them. Like they're going through it. It could be something that the person who wrote the song has gone through and then they're singing about that. And I think that that's a really beautiful thing. It's great to hear again that how raw that is there. It makes it more approachable, even if it's sad to know that they had to go through that. I do nonetheless feel like a lot of people have gone through that sort of misunderstanding of the situation with people and how they sort of like affect one another. But A great vocal technique, solid in the head and chest voice. I think that the rapping as well in that interlude section later on is just a great way to sort of shift things up and sort of spice things up a little bit in that later stage, just keeping things fresh, you know. The guitar, bass, and drums is like the main focus of this piece, though. I appreciate what we're trying to accomplish with more of a sort of like it's in a minor key, like we've been struggling, and it's authoritative and the rockish sort of overtones again with the distorted guitars, bass, and drums. There's a smooth sound to it, but it's also kind of weirdly uplifting because we are sort of communicating to the listener, hey, you know, even if we're going through these trials and tribulations, we're not going to let ourselves be overwhelmed like it. We're not going to be beaten down by it. And so you get this piece where there's these soaring lead guitars there playing these really engaging, interesting upper melodies there with power chords a lot of the time and changes in the chord progressions. And it's unpredictable. It's not the same the entire time, but just enough to sort of have a sense of consistency there, that feeling while maybe the way we approach those directions changes or those feelings changes, we still have that kind of that desire for getting with that person, I suppose, and understanding the way we need to act and to not necessarily be as sort of cautious, you know. There is dynamic range to it, but not a huge amount. If it does go down, it's simply for a bit of thought, and then we kind of get back up, and then we're kind of pushing forward with that. The drums are nice and tight. You know, we explore some fills occasionally, but sort of typically sort of working with the quarter note accents on this, which I think is effective. The bass line supportive of the guitar root notes and everything like that. The theme overall, as I mentioned, was uplifting, sort of anthemic there. Not overcomplicated. It's more meant to be sort of more of a catchy, single and approachable, accessible one there, where I think the focus is more on the vocals. I think it's altogether very well produced. I've got no complaints whatsoever with the recording, mixing, and mastering. The vocals don't sound overproduced. The guitars, bass, and drums are easy to hear in the mix there. And if I just go squeeze through the track, I also just like the palm muted bits there. The palm muting is where there was a dynamic range. I should know. That's the kind of final comment I want to make on it. But thank you to Shinya Duff for putting this track forward. I enjoyed my time with that. I think it's an awesome song. And it's great to hear more of the amazing show. And yeah, I think this track was released 12 days ago. So it's got 567,000 plays. So I'm really happy that they have found the love that they have for it. I think it was a really well produced video as well. But that was track from Shinya Da, amazing show titled Bastards of Love. What do we have next? Track number 3. We've got 3 to go, should I say. From oh my goodness. Oh, you can do commit. Oh, that is so clever. So there's actually a tab in Ko-fi where you can sort of sort by requests or commissions that you have versus you haven't done. That is so clever. I'm going to be doing that for next time. But we've got James now. James Edmeards. We are down to yours, dude. Let's go. Let's do it. What have we got from James? What's the next track? It is SkyDrive Through This Fire. Location is Australia, so that's cool. I think this might be an original, which is fun. So let's do it. Let's go. What do we have? Boom. Spotify. Let's go. Through This Fire. Ah. Yeah, great use of dynamic range here.
at a cost, at a
And a cool response with the male and female vocals is great. Good, good, good. I'm glad we're shaking things up here. I mean, like, I try not to pause. I like the fact that we are switching things up at that 3-minute mark. We're kind of acknowledging that 3 minutes of not that there's been lots of different ideas here, but to switch to just like another sort of more staccato-ish section there where we kind of change the feel of the track there and we sort of really commit to an instrumental element is just a great way of making a composition more intriguing and filling the 5 minutes. Great upper harmony with the lead guitar here with the vocals. Fantastic. Okay, so there's a lot to appreciate about this one. I think for the most part, I think Through This Fire by SkyDrive is about it's about having to walk through the storm, through the fire, struggling to cope with it, wanting the change, but being aware of the fact that in order to get through that change, we have to suffer for it. Our eyes are getting heavy and everything like that. We're just really kind of having a rough time, but it's about going through that journey in order to get to a better place. I think that's basically it's just describing the adversity we're going through in order to improve things. And I think that that's a story that a lot of people are going to be able to relate to. I think the vocal performance here it's solid. I like the male sort of backing vocal, the vocals kind of like side vocals, the harmonies, how they kind of introduce the chorus sections, and then we have the lady who sings most of the verse and chorus parts, and their vocal textures bounce off of each other really well. It's a nice color response. It's satisfying. They show solid vocal technique. They are comfortable in their head chest voice. I think that it would have been great to potentially have had a bit more presence for the vocals in the mix. But I also get the impression that maybe if we'd mixed in that this is not me saying we didn't. Just to clarify, I'm thinking that when we were doing the mixing and mastering, we might have heard the vocals clearly enough. So it might be like a mid-range frequency kind of thing or something like that. But either way, still, again, the vocals sounded great. No complaints about the way we sung. I think performatively it was fantastic, and it's a great sort of like. I think that what helped us as we went along is there was the instrumental performances as well in the background, because it's a 5-minute piece and it's quite long, but I think it was well fleshed out. I feel like we could have potentially had like a dedicated solo section and really stuck to like an alternate kind of third angle to the piece there. I feel like we were very comfortable with the guitar, bass, and drum grooves we had there. And I think that, again, we had range within diversity. There were lots of different drum grooves from like the different eighth and quarter kick, snare, cymbal parts there. We were comfortable with our on and off beats. We also had some really interesting tom transitions in that mid range there. We started getting a little bit sort of more instrumental with the guitar layers over top of it and the bass line exploring a little bit. I liked the a variety of different drum grooves and patterns we had throughout this piece there, and it never became stale. I think that it might have been good to have had some moments where it was like just the drums or like just the bass more than we maybe already had. Not because I wanted to hear less of the guitar, because I feel like the guitars were like the constant within the track. And if we'd maybe taken some of them away, or maybe we'd completely sort of divorced ourselves from that existing part of the fretboard that we're in and kind of gone up or down a little bit like that, or maybe kind of like gone a bit more intense or whatever, it just would have added a bit of extra dimensionality to it. I think that like compositionally though, the way we played those notes and chord progressions there, the range with the different sort of minor scale patterns there, the way the bass interacted with those rhythm guitars, whether they be chords or the different melodies that were intersected throughout, they made sense musically, and I was happy with that. And I think that again, having that extra lead guitar to go up with the vocalist at the end of the chorus there was really pretty. Great sense of unison note, awareness of how to sort of write stuff, and we handled things well there. I think the theme overall, it did sound like we were struggling. It was like an overwhelming force. There was this kind of energy to it where it was like heavy. It wasn't like that kind of kick you in the teeth kind of heavy, but there was like it was like overbearing a little bit. And there was that kind of weight to it, which I think is maybe what makes the music more impactful there. We could have potentially reduced that. There might have been a resonance in there, but we deliberately left that in order to keep it that kind of feel. I think that's actually really clever if that was intentional. The way the vocals sit on top of the guitar, bass, and drums, the way things were allocated there in the frequency spectrum was solid. I think it was a tight performance without a note out of place. And the studio recording, mixing and mastering for the most part was really, really good. Like we could have potentially taken away 10 hertz, 20 hertz in the low end of some of these with the filters. But aside from that, I think we did really, really well. And I think that things were nicely panned in the stereo field. The performance wasn't over-processed. We captured things neatly and leveled stuff well. And it was nice and loud without pumping, so the bus compression limiting was handled. I mean, effectively, I'm assuming this might be an original track. If it is, well done. I think it's really solid. It's a great first impression, and all the best for your future with musical endeavors. But thank you to James for putting this track forward from SkyDrive titled Through This Fire from Australia. That was really neat. I don't get a lot of bands from Australia through. It's nice to hear. As a fellow Anzac, it's great to hear musicians across the ditch making amazing music. It's awesome. But this next track after James's is from Judith. Thank you for your patience, by the way. I know sometimes we have to wait a while for these tracks to come through. I do try and hurry through whilst also trying to keep a sense of how do I describe it? It's like you don't want to rush because that's just disrespectful to people that put this stuff through earlier, but you also don't want to kind of like muck around too much. You know what I mean? But yeah, we got this track from come on, Judith. Boom. Jerusalem by LP. Let's go. Let's do it. Oh, Emerson, Lake, and Palmer. Oh, the drums are wild, dude. The organs are gorgeous, dude. So that was wild. That was absolutely wild. That was Jerusalem from Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Judith says, imagine if Gendrix could join them. It would have been phenomenal. That was already it was already a lot, to be fair, but I imagine it would have been even more incredible. James E says, thank you for the review and appreciate everything you said. Yes, that was an original track and one that I'm very proud of. Good effort. Thank you for sharing it. It's great to hear it. Keep up the great tunes, okay? And Jacob says, any more space on the queue? Unfortunately, these are the last two tracks. The last two tracks, as I have to go eat food after this, as I am hungry. You gotta have food. You gotta stay, I don't know what the equivalent is, hydrated, satiated, I suppose. So what is this track about Jerusalem? It will make them help. Nice, Judith. Well done. Well done. And did those feet in ancient time walk upon England's mountains green? So it's about Jerusalem and England, right? And was Jerusalem builded here amongst these satanic mills? Bring me my bow of burning gold. Bring me my arrows of desire. It's basically the idea of building Jerusalem and England's green and pleasant land. This is a very complicated song. It kind of was quite a lot for me to sort of absorb in a listening session. And I'm almost acutely aware that I will miss stuff. And I want to listen to it again because I know I've missed stuff. But I also want to sort of get my thoughts on a first impression basis to an extent. It's a song where, again, I think like the lyrics are intriguing as a concept. They make sense. I like it. It's very unique and original. And I appreciate the fact they're trying to approach it like that. The way that it was sung had sort of like a choir element, like it was being sung in a church, and I think that makes sense considering the subject matter. Clearly very aware of how to tie the style of vocal performance to the lyrics that we're singing, to then also the way that we how to describe it. The way that we write the music as well, with the organs and the marching drums and the bass and just so much. Like I'm gonna probably have a quick listen through certain parts after this just to kind of get my head around it. But vocally, fantastic technique, made sense for the style, really compelling. Sensible decisions melodically there with a complex arrangement harmonizing on top of those, and the bum bum bum, like the way that we finished was very sort of like common, I think, for a lot of church songs, if I'm not mistaken. So I like the fact we had that tie back with the tail of it as well. Okay, so what basically with a quick refresher, we had drums, like marching drums, lots of 16th and 30 seconds, almost sort of like we were at like an outdoor event paying tribute, like a memorial or something like that. I think that was it was incredibly dexterous. The fills that they had on either side of the like the tom fills, like they were just so quick, man. They were so quick with their sticks. Such incredible capacity for percussion there. They absolutely smashed it. It's a dynamic range as well. It wasn't just loud the entire time. They go, you know, it's quiet. The way that it was mixed and mastered was really well handled, I think. But like the drums were so precise, and they, even though there's quite a lot going on, it was never too much. Partly because of the panning, but also because they understood to keep the snares in the center and everything else. And yeah. They, and it wasn't an all the time thing. Sometimes you had the organs just playing certain notes and arpeggios and like resolving to more sort of common chord progressions and ones that, and then kind of bouncing off of that, moving into a new section, allowing sort of more of a ground bed for what we were trying to accomplish with the trumpets, because there was like a trumpet herald in that midpoint there, where we had almost like a soloish element there, the leads there, which was kind of it was perky and it was just a great bit of development in a track that was already quite complicated that sort of made it even more sort of refreshing. Because if you add too much at the start, even if there's a lot of cool stuff, it can still be kind of samey even with all the coolness because you're used to the relative intensity of that. The way that we allowed enough relative neutrality with the organ to allow that trumpet to have enough space whilst also having the vocals doing that thing is really sensational. There are also some sort of fuzzy synths in like the mid range there. They were almost sort of bassish in their approach, and I liked the buzz of that. It was a fun sort of texture that they found a space for within the frequency spectrum. And did I miss anything else? I think there were also guitars and bass guitars in there. So there was definitely a bit of sub bass in there that I get from bass guitar. Bow, 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 bow. And it was like an electric guitar near the end. There was some really subtle distortion or overdrive on it just to sort of have a bit of extra sizzle to finish things out with. An incredibly stellar piece. Thematically, I think what I mentioned about it sort of being more like a church piece there, almost like a hymn, like a prayer to be able to have Jerusalem built in Britain. I think that the personality behind that was really wonderful. It was a very unique approach there. The instruments kind of set the scene for the atmosphere of it. And then the way we wrote and that sort of style there, more related to that kind of music, is just very sort of authentic for it. So they managed to put their own sort of idea into it. They managed to make it make sense with the way it's performed, and just the studio recording, mixing, mastering on a final note is wondrous. We managed to hear everything in the mix. Surrounds you in a stereo field. A ghostly reverb to those organs is kind of like chilling if it wasn't for like the warmth of the vocals and how sincere everything sounds. Things were incredibly well played. It was just a really tight performance. No weird resonant frequencies. Dynamic range to it. Nice and loud without pumping. Thank you to Judith for putting this track forward. I haven't listened to much Emerson, Lake and Palmer, but they are tremendous. It's really cool, man. It's really cool music, and it makes me want to listen to a lot more of their music. What a first impression, no way. Excellent stuff. What a joy, man. What a joy. And then we got one more. One more request for today. One more review. This is from Dinner Hay. If you're watching this, Dinner Hay, thank you for your patience as well. Thank you to all of you watching this for your requests as well. And if you have not put a request through, that is totally fine. Thank you for your attendance. It's been good to chat, good to hang out. Haven't been doing the live streams much over the past couple of weeks. Been busy. Still busy next week. Maybe back to it over the week after. But I'll at least try and do the Saturday one if we don't do more. This track from Dinner Hay, the final one for today, is from an act named Kaoru Utada, titled One Night Magic. One Night Magic. I was about to say One Magic Night, but it's One Night Magic. So let's do this. Let's go into it. Ooh. I love the perkiness of those beep beeps.
と all your days 独り占めしてるのたまには
Really interesting guitar tone though.
どんな歌彼女に車の中で聞かすのあげたい君の知らない CD 一枚どちつかずの思わせぶりな人
That Moog synth in the background is just gorgeous. The legato on it, man. Or portamento. Key change. Oh, well done. And you said that fade out, that sweet fade out of the synth sequences at the end. It's tremendous. This was an interesting song. This was One Night Magic from Hikaru Utada. What do I think this track is about? The magic of spending a night with someone? Is it the magic of only spending one night with someone? Is that what this is about? I'm not sure. Either way. Oh, Hold Me Now or Go. Right. So we're kind of trying to figure out if the person is going to... If we dance so slow... It's basically, I suppose, the intimacy between two people spending the night together at the club, dancing or whatever else, entails, any of the adult stuff. Either way, it's a fantastic track. Off of the Ultra Blue album from Hikaru Utada, released in 2006. So, aside from that, I think Hikaru Utada's vocals are tremendous. They absolutely smashed it in their vocal range, head, chest, voice, etc. As per usual, very, very comfortable at this point in their career with handling that kind of stuff. No doubt at all about their ability to sort of handle a track at this point, but it's always, you got to sort of mention it regardless because that's part of reviewing. So the vocal performance was great. There was like a playfulness of the moto, those parts on the side there. They kind of grew the dun, 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 that kind of the groove there with the 16th note sub rhythms. It's captivating. It makes you want to get up and dance. And then the playfulness of those vocals on the side there, despite some of the light seriousness of the stuff going on, there's an intent there, but not too much. It's just they're trying to sort of match the feeling, the intensity of wanting to connect with someone with wanting to sort of like dance and enjoy the magic of the situation. And like the sparkly synth there, the beepy kind of sequences we had at the start there, with almost percussive synthetic elements there, it's just exactly the way we want to start a track like this. It almost instantly infers that it's going to be a sort of and if not a kind of a whimsical evening, like kind of like a fun one. And this track, I think, is fun. It's meant to represent fun. There are some light, cheery guitar bits that are not too heavy. I think they're deliberately light so as to not infer that things are going to get too heavy in this situation. Though we're discussing whether or not we're going to be held, either way, it's just a song where there's a sense of lightness, even with there being some prominent bass elements and a little bit of resonance in the low end. It's done in a way where a lot of the stuff is panned, also like filtered so that sub bass can go through. So it's not like it's egregious or not properly mixed. There, the way things are layered in the frequency spectrum, post-production wise, as well as in regards to the arrangement with the way, again, the vocals on the side and center, some of the guitar elements in the center is like an alt lead to what Hikaru's doing, or as a sub lead there, the bass murmuring in the low end, and some of the sparkles and the sequences coming in the mids and highs. Things are pretty well thought out here. And it's a situation kind of like what we had with Khalil Fong's track at the start of this, where the instruments are less of they're more like a loop idea, a consistency that's repurposed throughout in a way where we do adjust things and filter things and stuff like that. But it's not meant to be like an evolving instrument. It's more like this is the specific scene and ambience at this point. Then we add this one, and that is that there. If I go through the track a bit more, I mean, there are clearly 808s there. You can hear the boom, boom, boom with the strings in the mid-range deliberately filtered so that they sit on top of the mix really easily there. Stuff is intensely filtered in the EQing and stuff like that. And it's the same with the guitars. The piano, should I say, the piano that we have, the chords there, the extension chords are deliberately designed to be as far away from the 808 as possible. It's almost to an extent where I feel like we might have potentially overprocessed some of these elements, but we're trying to sort of make it so commercial grade that it's fine. I don't think that making this a dirty mix would have necessarily helped it. I think this is a situation where you want that relative brightness across the different ingredients within this track in order to make it work. And I think that the complexity of the piano is not one where I would be like, oh, there's sort of like a necessary unnecessary unhappiness with it. It's just more a situation where it's like, oh, okay, things are a little bit complicated, but we're just trying to sort of like dance a groove along and enjoy it. So I think the percussion with the various 8th quarters and 16th grooves there, the occasional points where we stop and take things a bit easier there with the relative, like removing the percussion, things just kind of sit and shimmer. And it's just a really pleasant track to listen to. It's fun. It's a great time. So the studio recording, mixing, mastering, with my comments before, is commercial grade. No issues of leveling or anything else. The vocal performance sounds fantastic. It's not overproduced. And I like the backing vocals again on the sides as well, the way they aren't necessarily even the entire time. And then when they are even, it's the end of the track and you've had your adventure with it. And they've come together and danced the rest of the night away. That's, One Night Magic from Hikaru Utada. Thank you to Dinahe for your request. And that is today's live stream. Wow, that was 2 hours of listening to music. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I did. I'm taking a sabbatical from social media, so I'm trying to cut down on my YouTube and my Reddit because my Reddit stuff is absolutely atrocious, and I'm sick of feeling sad a lot of the time because of reading stuff. We will be back for more YouTube live streaming next week. It won't be for the next few days because I have to do some stuff. Like, I'm getting a new tattoo. So like I've had like I have like the up here is tattooed, and I want to get that done as well. So I want to like add like more to my sleeve there to get tattoo done. I got to go sort of talk to my accountant as well. But I've had a fun time with the tracks today, and so I want to maybe do a live stream next Thursday. We'll see how we go though. If there is, I will try and schedule it. Jacob, if you're watching this, your patron video is going to be delivered tonight. Remember, if you want custom monthly music review videos, like dedicated videos of musicians that you like, so like outside of the live streams, you can go to the Patreon and get those done for $12 USD a month. If you want to just hang out on the Discord, there's the invite code there. And then, of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel or whatever, or you want to get sort of alerted to these, I do try and do the Discord for the events, but also you can subscribe to the YouTube channel as well and just hang out. And thank you for your time. Thank you for the requests. Who do we have today? We had Leo, Dinner Hey, Leo again, Shinyida, Leo again, Jacob Good, Leo again, Sunday Corn, Shinyida, James Ed Meads with an original, which was cool, Judith, and then Dinner Hey. I don't think I missed anyone. I might have. I apologize if I have, but thank you for all your requests. Thank you for watching this live stream. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you found some musicians to enjoy. Stay cool, stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next live stream. Spiderhands out. 3, 2, and see you later, Judith. You have a fantastic day, right?